What's up, guys? That Really Gross Guy here, and I figured, you know what? I got all these Warframes and all these theme-based, awesome frames that you guys have never seen before, and I know a lot of my viewers are from Warframe, from some of the videos I've done, whether they're the rank tests or a couple other videos I've done. But yeah, I figured I would give you guys a look at all my theme-based frames, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. So here we have one of my Ash builds, and I kind of themed this after almost an infested or insect style build. He's got this sweet Sobek that with the augment is pretty good. The Akzani with his puncture abilities, which are pretty sweet. And of course followed up by the Venka, and what insect would be complete without a nice set of claws or ability to do some puncturing. Pretty vicious, pretty sweet build. Definitely have a lot of fun with this build for sure. Next up we have another Ash build, and this one is 100% melee based. I almost set him out so he is like a samurai. He's got his arm guards, which, as you could see if you pay attention to any lore with samurais, they kind of have that arm guards, and just the way he's built with his cosmetic look is almost like a samurai build with their shoulder guards, like I said, and just their stance and all that, especially with the Nakana, it's phenomenal. I would upgrade to one of the other Nakanas, but I built this one way back in the day, and I've kind of have this set up for him at the moment, but I will be upgrading that Nakana shortly. And of course, followed right after Ash is Ash Prime, and this is a very fun build that I absolutely love to run, keeping with the Prime theme, the white and gold, with the hint of gray throughout. This is a very clean and almost like, I don't know, like a beautiful build. I love the white and gold, and I keep those themes through almost all of my Prime Warframes. But as you can see, followed up straight up Ash Prime with actually set up for some blade storming, just because I love that in-your-face Ash build. And that kind of going against that, the Dread and the Spiras, just because, I mean, ninja, right? I mean, if you're gonna have a primary, a bow is like totally silent, and then Spiras, like I said, is new, and I definitely want to run those. And the Ether Sword, I might get some flack for the Ether Sword because everyone runs Nakana, but I mean, I like to think that it's almost like a divine blade, like an Ash's like soul-stealing blade or something like that. Next up, going alphabetically, is Atlas, the Brawler frame, and I themed this frame almost with a Dark Souls feel to it. The red and the black-ish, of course, kind of a lot of people use, but I use some like maroon or brownish color in them. Definitely more of a bouldery or dark feel to them. With him sporting the Harpak, which I don't think I've ever seen anyone use, which is actually a pretty fun burst weapon, and its bulgy feel kind of aesthetically looks good with Atlas. Also going secondary, running the Telos Akboltos, you can see there on the side, another puncture-based weapon, which is kind of strange because his punches are kind of an impact type thing. But I almost wanted to take it and turn him into an impact theme, followed up by the Fragor, which of course is impact heavy, but with the skin on it like that, just brutal. Totally get this Dark Souls vibe coming off of Atlas, and I absolutely love it. Followed up by Banshee, and to be honest, is probably my least used frame. However, it is a fun build. I have set it up to be a pretty fun build. She rocks the Ceranos, which looks so cool on the back of all these Warframes. Kind of gives it like this, like a collar, like a spiked collar or something like that on the back. Definitely a cool cosmetic. And because she is based on long range. From the Ceranos, she goes down to the Ballistica as a secondary, which is not very favored in the Warframe community, but is I don't know. It's fun, especially its charge gives a bit of damage. And then for long range, running the Glaive. As you can see, I have an arrow skin on Banshee. Kind of fits her theme, I kind of guess. Pretty cool, definitely a cool arrow skin. And the Ciandana, kind of this tribally, like I could see Banshee perched up in like a tree or somewhere way off in the distance, and kind of have that waving off in the background as she shoots an arrow down into your head or chucks the glaive down at you. Definitely a cool build and a very aesthetic theme, I think, for Banshee. Next up is Chroma, and Chroma is kind of aesthetically cool and has a cool feel to him. I don't know if I just couldn't get used to him. But I have him set up actually as a elemental build. He definitely looks cool, and his weapons kind of fit his personality, I'd say. But I just, for whatever reason, I just couldn't get used to him or his abilities. But here he is, like I said, with some sort of elemental build, and the way I have it set up is Chroma's energy color is white, which makes him a frost type casting abilities. And basically he's going to be using his abilities, and it's going to use frost buffs, including, I think, a shield buff is his one of his abilities. But anyways, his synapse is an electric base, as you guys probably already know, which looks kind of cool. It aesthetically fits his theme. And then the Aksha Gaara I actually have set up to elementally use flame damage, set up at 31% with a bit, with that flame going on. And that is the third ability, or third element of all. And then Venka's I also have thrown on the Chroma, which I usually don't have multiple different weapons on different builds because I fit themes, but these ones match so good because being a dragon has dragon claws, and those Venkas are set up with poison, so that is the fourth and final element to the basic four elements themselves. And here we are with one of my favorite builds, both cosmetically and based on its skills and abilities. Ember is just a fantastic frame. She is rocking the Pyra Ciandana, I believe that is called, and she is sporting some pretty cool cosmetics, the Daedalus, I believe, shoulder guards, and we'll pull on over here, and she definitely has the different helmet, as you guys can see, not the basic helmet, but totally rocked out to emphasize the fire damage. The Ignis setup, obviously, a flamethrower doing a bunch of fire damage, and the Dex Furus on a secondary setup for a pretty decent status chance, as well as fire damage added to that as well. And of course the dual heat swords dishing out a bunch of heat damage as well. Definitely one of my most played frames, at least in the beginning. As soon as I got Ember, I played Ember for weeks. She was just so fun, and the Dex Furus, when they came out on the anniversary, just made her so much better in my opinion. Next up, of course, after Ember is Ember Prime, and definitely they did a great job on Ember Prime's cosmetic look. Everything from the helmet and the gold trimming is just fantastic on Ember Prime. And you guys are probably wondering, well, you just showed your awesome flame-based Ember. This one's blue. I'm a little confused. Well, I actually have this one set up to be an elemental build as well, not necessarily like I did with Chroma, but this Ember is set up for frost damage. Of course, her abilities don't exactly use frost, they still are flame, but I have her Latron, Vasto, and Dragon Nakana all set up for ice, for kind of a offshoot of Ember herself. But then, if I switch over all of my wonderful things to its second slots, both in cosmetic look as well as the mods. Flipping over to green, a really sweet green trim on Ember. We have a poison-based setup, and all of these actually have the animations as well as the other Tenno that are set up with that element. So the ice was Frost's animation, and the green poison is Saren's, I believe. I'm 90% sure it was Saren's. And finally, set up with Volts, we have a yellow theme, which of course being electricity. So I can switch throughout any of these just as simply as switching all of my things over to another set, and I can switch my element up. Of course, like I said, not the abilities, but all the other stuff set up pretty nicely. And you gotta love that awesome sheath for the Dragon Nakana. It just fits Ember so well with these colors. So here we are with Equinox, and Equinox is set up as kind of like a two-personality frame. Anyone who has her or knows anything about her kind of knows that, and I based her theme and emphasized that to some degree. At the moment, she looks kind of orange. I believe the DE changed some of the colors up a little bit, and I had that set up to be more of a gold, a little bit of an orangish tint, but a gold kind of setup. And the other side, of course, being like a silver, kind of set up to be complete opposites, kind of like Equinox is herself, gold and silver, and she is night and day. I also kind of set up her weapons that way to a degree. The Quanta, being two beams, kind of has a feel of two different individual like weapons in a way. The Sestra, I kind of have set up almost as though she should be using a dual Sestra as a full, complete gold and silver build, and then the Nami Skylas as a sword as well as a knife, kind of set up in the dual-handed mode. I like to think that when she is in her knight form, she is using, the Quanta, of course, being two separate beams representing two people together as one, and the Sestra being an individual weapon of each other's choice, and the blades almost like they're two complete opposites, one being a blade, and I like to think that the one emphasizes the blade more and the other uses the knife more. Kind of a cool feel to it, definitely like a two opposite ends of the spectrum on this build, and definitely a cool feel, especially when you play as Equinox. Alright guys, so you may have to forgive me on this, but I have quite a few Excaliburs to show off, and this one being a Steel Meridian based Excalibur. I like to think that maybe the Lotus never came for Excalibur, and the Steel Meridian, being almost a rebel group of the Grineer, went and rescued Excalibur from Vor to stop Vor from being successful. And I like to think that Excalibur, as a thank you and kind of a way of life, decided to adapt Steel Meridian as its like true way of life. And this Excalibur is set up as just a amazing, I think, amazing setup, at least cosmetically. Looks very aggressive, very different, but like a natural look. The helmet looking very like rhinoceros-y, I guess. And of course sporting colors like the Grineer, but not entirely, almost like it's a corrupt Grineer type Excalibur. Of course sporting the Vacor Heck, the Vacor Merlock, and the dual cleavers, all of which receive these Steel Meridian benefits, and just almost a tribute to Steel Meridian as a whole. Of course the dual cleavers I have set up with the special mod to allow for the Steel Meridian blow up the ability itself. But all around, an excellent and very fun and powerful Excalibur build. So next up here I have a red and black based Excalibur with some pretty cool cosmetics. I won't spend too much time on this one because it's not necessarily set up to be a powerful Excalibur. It is more set up to be a very all-around Excalibur, as well as kind of a fun build. Of course, red and black being a little bit overused, I think, pretty much in any game. But we'll shoot on over here, and you can see Excalibur sporting the awesome cosmetics, as well as that cool Ciandana coming from the Arbiters of Hexus. But the Latron Wraith set up with the Lato, a very basic weapon, and primarily I run this build with melee, sporting this sweet dark sword, almost like a dark version of an Excalibur. Very fun build, but like I said, not necessarily designed for damage output. Coming up next is another version of an Excalibur. Like I said, there's quite a few of these coming your guys' way, and this one is a very fun build, a very almost like original build. I feel like this was maybe one of the first Excaliburs to exist. Got the damage over on its one side, rocking the Nemesis skin. Tigress, of course, being a great weapon. Of course, I would like to upgrade to the Sancti Tigress, which I don't have at the moment. The Seer is kind of just on there because I feel like it kind of matches. The color scheme goes really well. Not necessarily the greatest gun, but the Redeemer, I feel like, kind of makes up for that, kind of doubling as a secondary as well as a sweet melee. This Excalibur I run as a very in-your-face build. The Tigress, of course, dealing tons of damage and many one-hit kills, and the Redeemer, of course, being a very brutal in-your-face melee. So here we are, and this Excalibur basically became a replacement for the red and black one you saw moments ago. As you can see, he's also sporting a Necros animation, which, as you can kind of see with his stance, makes him look incredibly intimidating. And I can't remember exactly which cosmetic shoulder guards and whatnot that this Excalibur has, but it has that sweet electric current rolling through it. And with this Excalibur and just the setup, it looks very, it's just scary. But this one is using the Prisma Gurkata, which I believe is still event exclusive. Or no, Barracuteer sold that. And that's definitely a cool weapon, and it fits his Prisma skin. I don't think I mentioned that already. But of course, the Magnus on his sidearm, not necessarily meant to be very damage outputty, but has also a Tennogen skin on it, and it looks absolutely magnificent. And as you can see, waving around the Anku, a sweet scythe, and in my opinion just looks so good on this Excalibur. The color scheme, as well as the Prisma skin that this Excalibur is rocking, just looks incredible to me. And here we are with my final Excalibur to show you guys, is a mock Prime version of Excalibur. Unfortunately, I was not able to get into the game back when Excalibur Prime was available. I actually did start way back when. I just couldn't dish up the money to get the exclusive, the Excalibur, and I kind of regret that decision. But to be honest, I absolutely love this setup. The cosmetics make it look very Prime. The theme itself. I also get a lot of people just asking me, is that Prime Excalibur? Because it's hard to tell, to be honest. Of course, the helmet being swapped out, and there is a possibility that it's easily mistaken for a Prime version. But this Excalibur rocks the Attica, which is incredibly fun. The twin Wraith Vipers, which I don't use very often. However, they do kind of fit him and kind of his personality, I feel. And then the Broken War, which in my opinion looks so good in prime colors. Kind of a total 360 or 180, whatever you want to call, of the original Broken War, and I think it looks just incredible, especially because Excalibur is a sword-heavy and just themed Warframe already. Alright guys, so this video's gone on for quite a bit. I'm actually going to have to split this up into a few episodes. I got more to show you guys, and hopefully you guys come back for part 2 of my theme-built Warframes.